So do you want to do just a half an oil change on your seadoospark? Well, we just don't do things halfway here. We're gonna get it done 100%. That's what we're doing in today's video, so hang tight. Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Oceanside guy. My name is Derek, and in today's video, we've got a 2022 seadoospark right here, and we're gonna be changing out the oil filter, and some spark plugs. And by the way, we're gonna show you how to take off this entire lid today. So when I say we, you know where I'm at today. I'm at my friend PJ's place, so let's get started. We'll show you step by step. All right, guys, as always, before we get started, we're gonna show you the basic tools that you're gonna be needing, so here we go. All right, guys, here we are. What's up, PJ? Hey. All right, so PJ's here, and he's gonna go over the tool list, the things that you need to get this oil change started, so here we go.
All right, so our tool list is pretty simple today. All we're looking at is, a driver, a T30 bit. We're just gonna take a general wrench and get a 10mm socket on there. Of course, we have our spark plug socket, and we also have a standard 10mm wrench that we're going to be using. In addition to these, all of our tools for the job that we're replacing, of course, is our oil. We have 1 gallon of this right here. We have the seadoospark oil filter. We have our spark plugs. There's 3 of them. We have our oil filter rings. And of course, we have the anti-seize lubricant. So again, we're keeping this super simple for you, and we're gonna make sure that you guys know exactly what to do. But it would be helpful if you had a buddy in this project, because taking off the lid is a little bit of work. It's not too bad, but keep in mind there's 2 ways to do an oil change on this spark. You don't have to take the lid off, but we're actually gonna do a full maintenance on this, check everything out, make sure we're all set, ready to go for the water next time on it, and be good. So here we go. All right, so in addition, we just wanted to specify we're gonna use a manual pump extractor for the oil. So we got all of our tubes as well, and then we also have an extra container to put the oil in. So if anything fills up more than this, we can put it in here. And then once you're done, you can responsibly, take it to your local auto shop and they'll dispose of it for you.
All right, guys, so there were your tools. So step number 1, we got to go ahead and start up the ski really quick here, just for about 15 seconds so we can get the oil warmed up, ready to go. So let's do that.
All right, so of course we have our key inside. So we're gonna go ahead and power this thing up. And there we have it.
All right, guys, so what we're gonna do next is remove the seat. We're also gonna remove some side panels to start to take off this lid. So let's go ahead and get that done.
All right, so first thing is we have this tab right here. All we're gonna do is pull it up and out, and then we can shift this back and take that off. As easy as that. All right, next is gonna be this side panel right here. You're actually just gonna unlock it at first. So you're gonna twist it to the right. You're gonna pull out on it. It just comes out right away like that. All right, so there's 2 panels, 1 on each side. These literally just click out. So you'll just pull them off. You can see that there's a little piece right here that fits in here. And then these tabs just fit snug right here. And we're gonna do the other side as well. So same thing goes on this side. Pull that right there. If you do have one of these safety equipment from Sea-Doo, go ahead and pull that out just so that's out of the way. We want to make sure that we have plenty of space to be able to reach inside of here. All right, so the next panel is going to be this one up front. You can see if you just pull these tabs out, you're going to lift this up. Inside of here, you can literally just pull this right up and out, and that is off. Next on the list is this front piece right here. The reason that we're actually going to be taking this off is because the steering column inside, that there is a bolt that goes in for the controller for this left and right. It's actually easier to get it from this front panel instead of the inside. So the next clip, you'll see that you would have to reach your hand all the way up to get it. We don't want to do that. We want to make this super simple for you guys. So taking off this panel is really easy. It's only 3 bolts to get it off with the T30. right, so then all you're doing is just pushing this forward and it comes right out. You can see that we can actually get to this bolt really easy. Right here. There's a nut and the bolt that goes through. All right, so the tip is to actually turn the handlebars to the left. The reason that we're doing this is it actually pitches this in just a little bit. That way I can access it, the top of the bolt from here, using this, and then the nut, I'm gonna use the wrench right here to actually get it. So at the very end, what you're gonna notice is you're gonna be able to hand loosen this out. Just be aware not to drop the nut, and that there's a little washer on the bolt on the top, so don't lose those two. All right, so then once we have the nut and the bolt out, we're actually gonna shift this to the right, which is going to release this piece right here. All right, so next thing that we're gonna do is actually take off two bolts on the inside here where the steering column is. So if you look just right inside of here, they're two silver bolts. And I'm gonna use this little handy right cornering tool, that way, or this right angle tool. That way I can get to this really easily. Now you can hand do this as well. It's a tight space, so you wanna make sure that you have something that's not gonna bump or mess with the steering column. So I'm gonna go ahead and take those out right now. All right, so as you can see, this loosens this entire piece out. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is actually pull this. You can see by undoing those screws, it actually allows us to release the steering column. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab the cable on the inside and pull this all the way through, just so it's completely out of the way.
All right, guys, so we got that cable out of the way, so we have a couple more cables to disconnect here, so let's get that done.
All right, so we have two of them. You just reach inside of here and pull them out. There's a larger one and a smaller one. And what you're gonna do to actually get these out is you're gonna see a little red tab here. So what we wanna do is prop that up a little bit and push this back. Same thing goes on this one. We're gonna push that up, pull that out, okay? So then, next step is to actually take these apart. So now that that's released, there's another tab right inside of here that we're gonna wanna lift up. It's a black tab, and that releases that. So it's a two locking mechanism. This is to make sure it's a watertight connection and it doesn't come apart when you're bouncing around on the ski. Same thing on the inside of here. It's a little black tab that we're getting up. And you're gonna have to pull on this a little bit, and it's gonna release this out. Once you're done, you can just set those to the side. So now that we finished with all of our cables, we're gonna move on to the body of the unit. So we have 3 screws right here, right next to your gas fill. We're just gonna take those off. All right, so next on our list is we're gonna be taking the bolts off of the back. So we have 2 little panels right here, 1 on each side. We're gonna take those off first, and then we got 6 bolts outside of those that we're gonna take out, so a total of 8. So these actually, if you can see right here, these slide out to the left on the left-hand side. The right-hand one slides out to the right.
So if you just saw what PJ just did, he took those bolts and he put them inside those panels. So don't lose your bolts and don't cross-contaminate them either.
So these bolts that are coming out of the hull actually have a little plastic washer with them. They're kind of an elongated washer, so make sure you keep those with them. So these 6 bolts are going to all be the same size, just so you're aware. So those are going to be all the 6 backside.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So as you take those bolts out, make sure you put them in a good spot, and again, don't get them mixed up. All right, so next we've moved to the front of the ski. We're going to take out a few more bolts here, so let's do that next.
All right, so we have 5 bolts up front, 1 on each side. There's a deep one right here, and 1 in the center, and you can see another deep one on the other side. So 1 on each side of the outside, and then 3 on the inside here. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so as you can see here, this little washer for these ones that are deep, they're going to come out loose, so just make sure you grab those. They can be kind of hard to get. So you can see, same thing, it was hard to get out, so I'm going to come to the other side to grab that. All right, if you happen to lose that little plastic washer inside of here, you're going to be able to get it after the fact. Once we pull this off, just don't forget about it. All right, so these front screws are all going to be the same size as well, so just make sure you keep those all together.
All right, guys, so now we're going to go around the side of the Sea-Doo here. We've got 5 bolts on each side. So here's a quick tip. You want to make sure you've got 2 hands, 2 tools.
All right, so we have the T30 on this side, and we got a 10mm socket on this side. These are the only ones that are going to have nuts with them. So make sure that you get in with this side and loosen them here. They're going to come out pretty easy. They're going to have washers with them, so we don't want to lose those. They're pretty long bolts, so just make sure they come out all the way. Again, they're going to come with those plastic elongated washers. So I'm going to keep those together. We're going to go around the entire ski and take them all out.
Okay, so I'm not going to film each and every bolt being taken out. I think if you just wash, rinse, and repeat, you'll be able to get it, right? So just go around the entire ski, take out all those bolts, and don't lose those washers. The easiest way to keep all your bolts, washers, everything organized is just place them out right here on a table. So keep it simple and you won't lose anything. Okay, all of the required bolts are out. Everything is completely detached. Now comes the fun part. We got to take this lid off, so here we go. Don't forget, you're going to need someone to help you out on this one. All right, guys. Here we go. We're gonna go ahead and lift up the back first, and it's gonna be a pull forward, so let's get her done. Here we go.
And reach underneath.
All set. That was easy. Check it out, we've got the lid off. This is pretty cool seeing inside of this Sea-Doo Spark here. This is pretty amazing to see the machinery behind the Sea-Doo. This is excellent. All right, guys, we're just about to do the oil extraction right now, so stay tuned till the end of the video. As we were looking over this Sea-Doo here, we found some things and we want to give you some maintenance tips. Stay tuned until the end of the video to see what we got for you.
All right, so now that we have the lid off and we're able to work and see the entire engine, we're gonna go ahead and take the dipstick out. So we're gonna pull this. All you do is shift it to the left, pull it, make sure you have a rag so we're not dripping oil. We're gonna clean this off, set it to the side, and we're gonna take our oil extractor we're going to go ahead and throw this down. And what you're going to notice is on the seadoospark that it actually only goes down about 16 inches around there. So just get it to the very bottom and start pumping to get this oil out.
Okay, as you saw PJ just getting that pump work in there, you saw that oil coming out. So it's going to take a little bit of time for that oil to come out, and then once you start to kind of see the oil slow down or sputter a little bit, we'll give the extractor a few more pumps. All right, so here we go. The oil started to sputter a little bit, so I'm going to give it a few more pumps and see how much more oil we can get out of there.
All right, so next step, we're going to go ahead and take off the oil filter cap and take out the old oil filter. So we're going to do that now. Just make sure that you have a star 8. So this is the reverse side of the other Torx. So last one's a little tricky because you just have a cable running right next to it. Of course, they don't make everything easy.
There's always one.
And then just give this a little wiggle and the top will come off. Clean that up a little bit. I'm going to set this rag here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. All right, so what you'll notice is that the cap came off without the oil filter, and that's fine. What we're gonna do is I just kind of cleaned it off a little bit, set it to the side. I'm just gonna take a flathead and pry this just a little bit, just so I can grab it. And then I'm gonna let it drip down so it doesn't make a mess, and then go ahead and bring it onto a napkin and put it in the new box. All right, so what I do too is I just take, paper towel, cloth, whatever, and I just go in here and clean out any of that excess oil, just to make sure that this is all nice and clean before we put in the new oil filter. All right, and after I sucked out where the oil filter was, I just come back over here just to make sure that now that there's some air breathing through there, that we don't have any more oil coming out. So we're just double checking this, and it looks like we got everything.
So do you want to do a full oil change on your seadoospark or just half an oil change? Stay tuned. Okay guys, so we got most of the oil out, which we thought we got it all out, but we didn't. So here's PJ to explain what's up. A helpful tip, guys, pay close attention.
All right, so on most of the oil change videos that you see on YouTube, not to ding anyone or say that they're doing it wrong, but in order to get all the oil out of this spark, you actually have to take the spark plugs out, and we're gonna take the fuel injectors out. We're actually gonna take the top deck, put it sideways, we'll show you how to do it, to be able to plug it in to crank this thing over. That way we can extract more oil out. So we should be getting more than 2 quarts out. So you guys shouldn't be doing half an oil change by just getting 2 quarts out. So we should be able to get more out by doing this. And so this tip on how to get all the oil out is brought to you by Pelican Performance, our friend Austin there, who, if you ever need to get any work done on your ski, he's right in Vista, California, and he can help you out in any situation with any type of jet ski. So whether it be Sea-Doo, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Honda, he can do it all. Or even if you guys do stand-up. So we're gonna go ahead and start this. So I'm gonna take each fuel injector out. We have 3 of them right here. So there's just a little tab, and we're just gonna push in and then pull up. So there's our 3 right here. We have our 3 spark plugs that are right here. But you'll see this connector, we want to get this out of the way. So just go ahead and push that out of the way. So what we're going to use is the T30, and we're going to hand do this instead of using the gun, because we want to make sure that this is as smooth as possible and we're not stripping anything. So you can see they loosen up really quick. So I can basically take this off and hand pull the rest of them, or hand pull the rest of it out. So 3 bolts right here, we're going to get out. And there we have it. So next thing is I'm going to actually unplug these connectors here. It's a little tight, so you're going to have to kind of squeeze in order to get these out. All right, so I'm going to take these 3 screws out in order to pull these tabs off of here. This just makes it a lot easier to be able to pull these out. So you can see all I'm just doing is loosening them up, and then I can hand twist these out. So make sure you keep these all together like that. That way when we pull this tab out, it's a lot easier. You can see that. And then these 3 little pins right here, or these little sections, you know, we want to make sure those go together. Then we're going to do it on the next 2. And there's a little tab on here, just pull that out. All right, now our fuel injectors are out and our spark plugs are unplugged. Now we're just going to twist these out, pop those up, put that to the side, kind of twist and pop. Then our last one, there we have it. Now we're going to go ahead and get these spark plugs out. All right, so now you're going to get your spark plug socket, and you're going to manually crank these out. It's not going to take too much work to do it. I'll loosen those guys up. And a quick tip is we're going to take this and actually pull these guys out. So it kind of sucks them right up so they come right out. So you can see, now we got all 3 spark plugs out. Let's verify it's looking clean in there, and we should be all set.
All right guys, so what we got to do is we got to get that lid back over on top of the seadoo here. So we're going to be lifting that up here really quick, and we're just going to lay it across like a T here right on top of the seadoo so we can get the unit plugged back in so we can crank over the engine.
First things first, we're going to have to actually pull this cable, the connector, and you can see this is a gasket that goes around here, so we can pull this in and out. But what I'm trying to do is actually just tuck this in so it goes in all the way. I can grab this on the other side, and you can see it's just split in half, and so we can take that out. And now I can take these cables one by one. Don't crank on them too bad, and then we can take this out. So you can see we can pull this sideways and be able to plug it in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get these things reconnected. So you'll hear the click on it when you get these guys in. All right, there we have it. So remember to have your key already in, ready to go. And now that we have all this undone, we're gonna go ahead and crank this over. All right, so now we already have the key in. So all you're gonna do is, again, we have the oil filter out, we have the spark plugs out. You gotta make sure you take out the fuel injector plugs. And once that's all set, ready to go, then all you're gonna do is just hold this down. You're gonna hear that beep, don't worry about it. We're gonna do this a couple times. And then so what we're gonna do at this point is we're gonna go ahead and drop the oil extractor in and try to get some more oil. On the oil filter side, you can already see that oil has already started to come up. If you look into here, and you're gonna wanna make sure that you do this so you don't get half an oil change.
All right, guys, check it out. There is a lot more oil in there. Here we go. Okay, so we got quite a bit of more oil out, so we're gonna go ahead and crank over the engine a couple more times to see what else we can get. All right, here we go. All right, guys, you see all that oil creeping up in there? There is more. Yep, and there it is. There's more oil. All right, guys, we're gonna do it one more time, which will make the third time. Here we go. Okay, guys, so we went through this process about 4 times. The 4th time was probably just a make sure that all of the oil is out. And I've got to say, about a gallon.
Almost a gallon.
We pulled out just about a gallon out of this seadoospark right here. So if you're only pulling out 2 quarts, wait, there's more. Okay, we are 100% confident that we got 100% of that oil out instead of just half. So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and prep up that oil filter. So we'll show you how to do that right now.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a little bit of this fresh oil, put it on my finger, and I'm gonna get just around this rubber gasket right here, just so that's taken care of. Our new seal or gasket, I'm gonna put a little bit on that. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the old one. So that one's done. Just gonna clean off that a little bit, so we can toss on the brand new one. There we have it. This is all prepped, this is good. So let's go ahead and drop this in. All right, so there is a top and a bottom. So you can see this is actually the open hole is the bottom. The flat top is the top. So we're gonna go ahead and just drop this inside of here. It's gonna go directly right in the center. Just make sure you push and you can see that it fits snug right in there. And then I could take the cap, you know, with our new O-ring and place that right on top here, and then we can go ahead and screw it in. So I'm going to take my 3 bolts and I'm just going to hand place them. Again, with this one you're going to have to move that over a little bit in order to fit that in, and then just hand tighten them down. I'll go ahead and get these down. And I'm just going to do them to where they're nice and snug first. All right, so I know that those are all snug. All All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just hand tighten them. You don't need to go crazy. Just give it a nice little quarter turn on each of them, because that O-ring is gonna make a nice seal. So there it is. You don't need to over tighten on that, and that should be all set, ready to go.
All right, up next are the spark plugs. Let's go ahead and get those prepped and ready to be put in.
All right, so we have our brand new spark plugs. We're just gonna take a little bit of this anti-seize lubricant and place it just about the center. You don't need a lot, but I'm just gonna put some so it goes all the way around. Again, you're just gonna need enough to get all the way around. And then that'll be it for that. So we're gonna do that for each of these and then get them in. All right, so we're gonna get these 3 spark plugs in and screw it in. So you can see I'm just hand tightening them in there to where it stops. Last one here. There we go. So you got all 3 of them hand tightened in. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and torque these down. It calls for 142 inch-pounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these things down all the way till it clicks. I already had that one in. I go back in, just double check these. There we go. Now they're all set, ready to go. Now we can get all the sleeves back in and get all this plugged back in together. All right, so I'm gonna slide these sleeves back in, get them set, get these plugged in. You're gonna hear some air in there. Just kind of wiggle it to where they're in. And on the final one, you'll hear that little pop. Crank those guys in. Looking good on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and screw these guys in, and then screw these guys in. So you can see with all this, I'm just hand tightening them first. Got to make sure that this is all fitting properly. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of finesse. Getting that thing in there. I want to make sure that that's going to go in smooth. There we go. Our last one. All right, and these guys are only going to be snug, so you don't have to crank down on these super hard, because it's just holding all this together. And it's going into a plastic. All right, so now that all those are in, I'm gonna go ahead and reseat my fuel injectors. Or fuel injector cables, excuse me. And then I'm going to take these screws and get these lined up. Again, hand tighten them real quick. Get that lined up. All right, same thing with these. You just want them snug. You don't need them super crazy tight. So just gonna get them down to where they're snug. Looking good. Let's plug this back in. Make sure that that snaps. Now we have all that set, ready to go. Spark plugs in, oil filter in. Now we just need to fill the oil. Looking good. All right, so next up, we're gonna be filling the engine with oil. As you can see on the dipstick here, we have a minimum and maximum. So we wanna make sure that it's in between here. So when we do fill it up, after we crank it, we'll just verify that it's in between there. So with the whole gallon that I have here, I'm gonna fill it mostly up, but I'm gonna leave some in here so we can keep testing it after we get the lid on. Everything's good to go. I just wanna make sure that we don't overfill it. All right, so here we go. Nice fresh new oil. So I'm gonna take my time with this because I don't want it to overflow back. All right, so I still have some left inside of here. So I'm gonna keep that. The worst thing that you can do is not have enough oil or overfill it. So we wanna make sure it's just right.
Just before we check the oil levels, we're gonna go ahead and spray out this engine with some of the XPS. And so PJ will show you how we're gonna do that.
So anytime you have the deck open, like on a GTX, or the whole lid open on a Spark, we want to use, excuse this, it's a little worn out, but the anti-corrosive lubricant. So this is by XPS, BRP makes it. But any metal parts on the engine, we want to go ahead and give it a good coat on it. This allows it so it doesn't corrode. Just general maintenance. So when we talked about, you know, some maintenance tips earlier, this is one of them. The other one is when you have the ability to flush out your engine bay, go ahead and do that. Just take some fresh water and go ahead and throw that through here and let it drain all the way out. That just makes sure that any salt that builds up inside, if it happens to get inside, that it gets flushed out. But again, we're gonna go ahead and hit all the metal parts of this ski.
All right, so we're gonna take a generous coat of this XPS and hit all the metal parts of this engine right here. So don't worry about the generous coat here, especially on the top where all the wiring is. It's totally safe, so you'll be good to go.
Another tip that we wanted to add, a maintenance tip, is make sure that you check your coolant. As you can see on this one, even though it has around 12 hours on it, the coolant's pretty low. Make sure that you top it off so you're good to go for the next ride. And when you do go to fill it up, make sure you use the BRP coolant. You want to use the same coolant that you're putting in there. You don't want to mix different ones. That's an important tip.
All right, guys, now that we got the engine all lubed up, set, ready to go, it is time to put the lid back on the Spark. We got it.
The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna plug the electrical in, and then we're gonna take the steering harness and thread that through. And so let's get started. So you're gonna notice that there's some wings on this, so just make sure that they fit into place. It clicks, and then you're gonna push the red tab in to make sure that that clicks in. Take the big one. Again, there's wings on each side. Make sure that you're going in the same one. It clicks, and then click the red in. And then that's all set, ready to go. And then what we're gonna do, the steering harness, the steering cable, excuse me, I'm gonna thread it through the top here. So it's just there, ready to go for us. All right, so the next step that we're gonna do is go ahead and power on your unit. And then we're gonna go ahead and turn this on. Make sure it cranks over. Looking good.
Success, we got it to crank over. So now we are going to check the oil level. Here we go.
Okay. So what you're gonna notice on this side is you actually have a plug to turn. This comes out and you can actually get to your oil stick from here. So we're just going to turn that and go ahead and wipe this off. Put this thing back in and then take it back out and check the level. So right now it's sitting right at above the max, so we're going to run it just a little bit more just to get that oil circulated through and then check it again. All right, so we just cranked the engine, let it sit for a second. We're going to go ahead and check the oil level again. So it looks like it's hitting just at the max there, which is just fine. You always want to check after your next ride just to make sure that it's not overfilled. So once we get this out there, we're going to go ahead and do that.
All right, guys, so we got the oil checked, we got the lid back on. So next step is to get all these bolts in, and we're going to start with the 10 bolts. So if you remember earlier in the video, we had 5 on one side, 5 on the other. So let's go ahead and get those installed first. Here we go.
All right, don't forget the plastic washer is going to be on top. The metal one is going to go on the bottom. It's a little tricky. It's a little bit of work to get these center ones on, but once you get them on, it'll set it up so you can screw them all down. So I'm only going to get them snug right now. I'm not going to go all out. Easiest. Not going super crazy on them, but and a hand tighten that.
So we got 5 of those bolts on the side there, and we're just doing 5 on this side, and then we'll go to the next step.
All right, so now I'm going to work on the front 5. So I'm just kind of getting them set up so they're in the spots ready to go. I kind of have to work it a little bit on some of them, but I just want to have them so they're almost ready for me to get in. Again, we want these things snug. Looking good. All right, so keep in mind all your hole bolts are going to be black. We got 6 back here. Get those ones after. I'll make sure that those are snug in. Have it. All right, now I'm going to take my 2 back fairings and we're going to get these in there. So again, push from the left to the right. It's going to go right in there. Again, just get it snug. Doesn't need to go crazy. Then the right side, going to go from right to left. Get that in so that's nice and in there. Boom. All set on that. Next up, we're going to get the 3 bolts that go in around the gas cap. Again, we're just going to get this nice and snug. We don't need to go crazy. There's a little gasket on the back of here that it's going to pinch it in, so don't crank down too hard. Now we're going to take the steering column and we're going to get this lined up. So you're going to have to kind of feel these bolts out. You can see right here, when you pull this forward, I just hand tighten them in, and then I'm going to go ahead and crank them down. But again, same thing, you don't want to go too hard. It's looking good. So now we're going to get our steering set up. So we're going to go ahead and get this connected. You can see we have 2 washers here and a nylon nut. So I'm going to go ahead and thread this thing through. In order to do this, we're going to have to pull this to the right in order to fit it in. And you can see just how it came out. You're just going to fit it right in the dead center in here. So you can see there's a little slot for it. I'm going to get my bolt and fit this in. You might have to do a little wiggle to get it all the way through. But once you feel it all the way through, you're good to go. And then you can see I have my other washer and the nylon nut, and we're gonna get those in. It's not that much space in there, so just take your time. All right, now that I have that on there, it just took a little bit of work. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing tightened down. All right, so just make sure that's snug, make sure that that is moving. All right, the last 3 bolts here, we're gonna go ahead and put on this front fairing. Just make sure underneath that the tabs are gonna be seated in properly. But once you line them up, they should go right in. And it should seat. You have the smallest one that goes on the bottom. So I'm just gonna hand tighten this one in. And my top long ones. Set those up right where they're supposed to go. That one needs to go down. Now it just needs to go on like that, and that's it.
All right, so all the bolts are done being bolted. We are at the home stretch now. All we got to do is snap some things into place. So let's go ahead and do that, and we're going to finish this up.
So we're going to get the seat back on. There's a tab up front here that you're going to need to slide inside this specific hole. So we're going to make sure that that is lining up right there. And technically, if you're hitting all these back tabs right here, it should all line up nice and fluid, and then it should be in. All you do is have to pull on it, push back, make sure that that's in there. That's good to go. Next up, we have the 2 side fairings. There's just going to be 2 holes right here. We're going to get those in, push that, and it should be good to go. Easy as that. Same thing's going to be for the other side. You can see one little flange. We're going to make sure that those go in, and this goes into its spot. We have our front panel. This is just going to go up from the top. It's going to go into these 2 slots right here. So you're just going to push down into that, close that. These things connect in on both sides. That's all set. Last but not least, We got our last panel. So we're gonna go ahead and get this guy in. I'm gonna come from the right and move to the left to get that in. Just kind of nudge it, twist to the left. That locks that into place. Clean up our tools out of here, and that's a full oil change.
All right, that is it. What did you guys think about this full oil change today? So if this video was super helpful, you gotta let us know. Go ahead and put a comment in the box down below. And I wanna give a special thank you, a special shout out to, there he is, my good friend PJ, for doing all the work.
Happy to help.
Oh my goodness. That was a lot, that was fun. We hope you guys enjoyed the full, not the half, oil change. PJ, want to close out with anything?
Yeah, for sure. We just want to thank our friend Austin at Pelican Performance in Vista for giving us the details on doing a full oil change instead of a half oil change. Because again, we want to make sure that you guys do these things right the first time and not just get half the oil out and have a bunch of old oil going through time and time again. Right. So we're all about doing the full thing.
Again, thanks for tuning in today, guys. And don't forget the most important thing, make today your best day, because tomorrow isn't promised. Until next time, we'll see you on the water.